Okay guys, hey. So in this video, I'm going to go through and show you some code that I've been working on for iOS development. So I had learned Swift previously in the past to work on a few projects. I actually started a business with my friend where we worked on using Swift to build a cafeteria lunch ordering app, which I might go in depth on in another video. Basically after that project, I realized Swift was not a great language for me. I felt it was really cumbersome, and since I don't like UI, it required a lot of UI and it wasn't fun to work with. So for this project, I ventured into learning Flutter using programming language of Dart. Now Flutter is developed by Google, and it's basically a really easy UI development. Tons of packages, tons of different things you can develop with. And so for this project, because there's a pandemic going on, I worked on making an iOS app that allowed me and my friends on my running team, because I run cross country and track, to go on runs and to track what run we went on, how far we went on the run, just basic information in a way that we could easily share it with other people. And while there are apps that are designed to do this right now, I felt that none of them worked especially well, or they're too cumbersome, or they involve too many features, too many social elements to it. And I just wanted something simple, something that was non-GPS related. You just plug it in so your friends can see your runs. I called it tempo because it's a type of a workout that we call in running. So when you do a special, an extra fast workout, but it's like a normal run, you call it a tempo. So I'm gonna show you guys, I'm gonna basically walk through some of the code, walk through the app, walk through my database I'm using a Firebase database. When we come into the app, you can see there's this welcome screen that says tempo, and I use a sign in with Google. So this is just a picture of someone running in the background. I use sign in with Google. That way I don't actually have to deal with any usernames and passwords. It can all just be stored by Google, and they can sign in with their email and password. I get a token with user information. So that way I don't have to worry about encrypting users' passwords and storing them in my own database. It's just a bit more secure for everyone. So I can go ahead and sign in here. It's gonna ask me if I want to continue to sign in with Google. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign in here using my email account. I'm gonna blur this out. It's gonna do two-step verification on me, hold on. After it does two-factor authentication, it lets me right in. And since you can see I already have an account here, there's already some information that's being displayed. So I'm not very into UI development. I didn't have much experience with databases before this, but you can see this is something I was able to create with probably 3 months of work, and it was a lot of work and a lot of code, but definitely something that's capable. Someone who's not really UI inclined or very good at design could completely be able to do this themselves. So here's the way it works. Basically, we have a home screen here with some information. So you can see this is your user profile, which I snagged from Google. You can see your total number of runs, your total miles you've run, and the average pace of all your runs. Additionally, we have an option to view our runs right here, to join a new group, or to create a group. So basically, I created this concept of a group, which is the running teams you're a part of. I didn't want to narrow it down to teams because this can be used by anyone who likes to run with friends. So each group has an owner of the group and a bunch of members that are in that group. So if we go ahead and look at our database over here, which I'll pull in, if we look at our Firebase database, I'm using the Cloud Firestore. And you can see I have a collection of groups here and a collection of users. Each user is identified by their Google individual authentication ID that Google gives me. So I use this to identify each individual user. So you can see, for example, this is happens to be my school account, and this is my personal email, just since I'm testing. Inside each user, you're able to see that there's a document with some information about them. We have their email, we have all the groups they're a part of, we have their last run, their name, their profile picture, and every single run they've gone on. And we store this in a JSON type file format, where we have, it's basically an array of runs, and each one of those runs has a date, a specific key, so I can order it in a list, the amount of miles in it, the pace, the time, and the timestamp that I put the run in. So this is so I can order it by the most recent run was put in. And you'll notice each of these are strings. I use strings, and then I found this to be quite cumbersome, but I use strings and do a lot of casting into other formats. So I'll cast strings into ints to do math and to calculate what the average pace is. So we have that information. We have the total miles they've run ever, the total minutes they've ever run for, and the total amount of runs they've gone on, as well as this, once again, this ID, that's the same as their identification ID. Okay, in the group category over here, you can see these are individual groups. Basically, I'm working on adding a chat feature, which I don't have right now, but each group here is gonna contain a list of members. So they're self-referencing. So each user contains a list of groups, and each group contains a list of users. It has a name, it has the owner of it, which in this case is me. You can see this is the same tag as my tag, which is I'm the only member. And you can see the password, which is completely hashed. So if we minimize this screen over here, you can see that if I want to create a new group, it asks me to select a group name. So let's call it Owen's Archives. If I hit continue, I create a group password. I'm gonna make it Funny Bunny, and then I hit enter. It's gonna create a new group. And you can see over here, there's now this new tab that's been created. So if we look over here, we can now see there's a new group called Owen's Archives, and I'm automatically enlisted as a member because I'm the owner that created it. However, I'm given this special code now, AF60CEE4, and I can distribute this code. So I can go ahead and copy this to the clipboard. And if I open up a text file, and you see I paste this, if I were to paste what was on my clipboard, I would say you were invited to Owen's Tempo group. This is your join code, and it gives the join code. So you can text this to your friends, and you can distribute this and have them join your group. Moving back to the code completely here, if I move this out of the way, you can see that I now have a new group I should be added to, Owen's Archives. And right now, this is not formatted correctly. The line spacing is off. I'm not sure how to fix that yet. But you can see I now have this new group that when I click on it, you can see a list of the users. So right now I'm the only user, but this is what it would look like in general for anyone who's added. So the more people who are added, the more people show up here. So that's what it looks like being in a group. If you want to join a group, it's going to do something similar, except if you're not the person to create it, you're going to go ahead and hit join group. You enter in that code and a little window pops up asking for you to enter the group password that was created. So your friend also has to share with you the password in order for you to get into the group. That way they're private. So you can see I can scroll through my groups here like this. Right now I think they only have me as members in them. Yeah, you can see. And notice on each one here, in each group, you can go ahead and see there's a user. And you can see the most relevant information. You can actually see their last run displayed. So you can see, go ahead and just at a glance, scrolling down, looking through everyone, you can see everyone's last run. This might be helpful to know, like, oh, what did this person run today? What should I be running? Depends. So since we're in quarantine and we normally run the same thing, we can see how everyone ran today compared to everyone else. If we click on it, you can go ahead and get a list of all the relevant information about that user. So you can see this for anyone on the team. For example, you can see their average pace, their total number of runs, the total number of miles they've run, their last run, and once again, their average pace. Additionally, we can see each individual run they've gone on. So this was on July 29th. There's an 8.4 mile run I went on at a 6:32 per mile pace. So they can go in and see this. And this is also a list that you can scroll through when there are more. The other relevant feature we should go over is how to add a run. There's two ways to add a run. The first thing you can do is hit add run like this. The second thing you can do is go to my runs like this and view all my runs. And this is going to show you something similar to when you click on a specific user in a group to look at their runs, except this is your runs and you have the ability to slide and delete them, whereas someone else couldn't delete your runs in a group. To add a new run, we're going to go ahead and hit plus like this. We can slide to change the amount of miles. I'll have it all the way up to a marathon. That can obviously be changed. So let's say we went on a 6.6 mile run. It took us a total of, let's say, 47 minutes. That would be a pretty quick run here. And we can select the date we ran it, just in case we ran it the other day and we're just reporting it now. But it automatically selects today's date as the default. And this is actually Thanksgiving. So if we go ahead and hit create run like this, it's gonna say 6.6 mile. And we can now see added at the top because it's the most recent run. These are ordered by recent. I went on a 6.6 mile run at a 6:49 per mile pace. And so pretty much we added a run like that. If we want to delete a run, we can go ahead and swipe to delete it. And this is the basic functionality. And we can see also everything on the home screen here has been updated as soon as I've added a new run. Now we've gone on 4 runs. We've gone on a total miles of 29.3, and our average pace is 5 minutes and 54 seconds, which is a pretty fast pace. Not my average pace for all my runs, I can say that. So basically this is my app tempo right now. I'm working on adding a few last features. I have it already being beta tested. Some of my friends are using it, so I'm really excited about the app. And it was kind of a cool experience because now I feel like I have the ability to go ahead and create like an app from scratch. If we go ahead and look inside the code, you can see I have basically a new file here for every I have a new file for every screen. So I have a my run screen, which is obviously going to display this. I have a add run, a home. For each individual group I have a page. This is something that has to do with making sure it works on all different screen size devices, but I have a runner profile, which is going to show basically each individual inside of a group when you click on them. I have a join group page, a create group page, and the initial sign-in screen. So through all these pages, and you can see a bunch of code here, you can see the code on the side. Basically I was able to make this project. So if you guys are interested in seeing more about how the internal workings of the code works, I'd be happy to go in depth or to show more videos on how to do Flutter projects. I'm working on another project right now. I made an app that texts my grades, that video. I'm working on making an app for that, so that way you can download it and do that automatically as opposed to having to run some Python code. So yeah, basically that's it for this video. I just wanted to show this app I worked on over the summer. Thought you guys would be interested in it. Anyway, thank you guys.